Today is officially 2 months since I've made the move from USA to Europe, and while I get ready today, I am going to be talking about everything from the culture shock, the good, the bad, ever since living here for the past 2 months. I promise this video is not going to be like, hey, look at me, I'm living my best European life kind of thing. It's going to be really real, and all of the struggles that I have been dealing with since moving here too. So grab your coffee, your makeup, and get ready with me while I spill the tea. First off, I was beyond excited to finally get here. I mean, it's been a year of planning to come, and when we arrived, it was like a whirlwind. We went through customs, it was no problem. There was no line because we arrived on like a Wednesday morning, so I guess nobody's really traveling. And we did have 5 bags with us in total, and luckily we got all of them. Stan's best friend picked us up from the airport, so immediately we were on the road. So I've been sitting down at this point for like 10 hours now, so everything was hurting. But once we arrived at the house, Stan's sister was there waiting for us for a surprise, because we were not supposed to see her just yet until the weekend, because there was going to be a family gathering. It was gray when we arrived, which Stan prepared me for, that Belgian weather is not the greatest. And the whole drive, it was gray, so I was, you know, kind of expecting it, but also it's my first day moving to Europe and it's gray, so you kind of feel a little bit discouraged. I think the first culture shock for me was the pace of life here. Like, I knew people lived a slower life here in Europe, I just didn't know how slow. Like, I remember the first time Stan and I went to the Grand Place after doing some paperwork just to explore. I wanted a cup of coffee so I can hold it and while walking around exploring things, but to-go coffee was just not a thing. Like, we went into a coffee shop and everyone was just chilling. Like, it was 2 in the afternoon, it was packed. People were having lunch and we were having coffee, and it's just like, I just love that no one's in a rush. They're enjoying their coffee. They're not like on this go and go and go all the time mentality like it is in the US. The downside of it was I truly did just want a coffee to go, so I didn't have to sit there, and just wanted to explore. It was like my first week of being here, but it's something to get used to, and I'm all for it now. Like, I want to be able to enjoy my coffee while I'm with friends and family, so that was nice. Next comes the language barrier. I was surprisingly shocked at how many people spoke English. I mean, it's not super great English. Not saying that I have good English, but I was just surprised because in a small town like this, I was just expecting less. You know, like if I were to go to a restaurant, I didn't expect them to take my order in English. We're getting dinner, and the waiter realized that I wasn't speaking any French, so he started trying to speak English with me. So the way that I've always been told is that Europeans don't like to speak English with you. They want you to, you know, speak their language or whatever. But honestly, I've had such a great experience with everyone and hasn't been a problem. But all in all, with the whole language barrier, it is comforting to know that in the short amount of time I've been here, that people are trying, people are welcoming, you know, no one judges me when I say a sentence wrong in French. They just correct me, they help me get better. So, you know, as I immerse myself in this life here, I think it's going to work itself out. Then it comes the food. So, as we all know, food in Europe is next level, okay? Like, I am such a diehard for McDonald's, and I had my first McDonald's in Belgium, and honestly, puts America to shame. But the food here, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Like, I think the amount of cheese I've had since living here is crazy. And we went to dinner at one of Stan's friend's house, and the dinner was cheese, saucisson, and bread. And I am slightly lactose intolerant, so the cheese also here is very strong, and I'm just not used to having a lot of that, but it is the culture here. Like, I remember the first time I went grocery shopping here, I was shocked by the cheese selection and the saucisson selection. It took up like literally half the grocery store, and I'm like, wow, this is how it's going to be now. Like, I'm going to have to get used to this. But cheese is fine, but it's nice. I like trying all different things, but the only thing that's a little bit hard for me is how much people love pate and foie gras here. I don't know. I'm Chinese, so I know weird food exists, but I don't know. I just can't get my mind through eating foie gras. And honestly, the taste isn't acquiring taste like blue cheese. So I'm just gonna have to pass on that because I don't know how I'll ever get used to eating foie gras. The transportation here is, I'm honestly shocked in every positive way possible, because I lived in San Francisco and I would always take public transportation to work, and it was never ever reliable. Like, I remember having to wait 30 minutes at the bus stop because it just kept getting delayed. Here in Europe, it's just like so much more reliable in a way where, like, we would look online the day before we need to go somewhere, and we just go to the train station, buy tickets there, and the train will be there when the time comes, as they said it would. It just like wasn't the case for me at all in San Francisco. Like, I never wanted to take the bus or the Caltrain because it was never on time. The only downside about that though is, yes, they're always on time, but they have so many strikes here. I just was not prepared for that. I think within 2 months, there has been 3 strikes. And one time we basically had to stay an extra day in Brussels because there was a strike and there was no train. All in all, surprisingly shocked by the transportation. It is really nice in there. It's kept really clean. I guess maybe I've just gotten lucky with the trains that we've taken from here to Brussels. Like, it has nice leather seats, really, really clean, and we are not working, so we're usually taking the train during off hours, so it's not super packed. But yeah, super good experience so far with that, except all the strikes. I think one of the hardest things about the change here is the personal space culture, where in Europe, everyone bazooks. The first time I went out to the bars to meet a lot of Stan's friends, and granted, I don't know about 90% of them, and there was like 20 people, and I remember it made me so uncomfortable to have to like bazoo everyone because they're all strangers and you're like literally touching your cheeks to this stranger. So I think that's going to get some used to. I mean, I think it's a really nice gesture. It's like a really nice culture thing. But for me, who lived in America for over 20 years, that's not a thing. It's going to take some time for me to adjust. And through these parties, I've noticed like Europeans don't typically do small talk. And one thing I noticed the most is that every single person I've met, and I think I've met over like 80 people in the past 2 months, no one has asked me what I did for a living. Not a single person. And I just love that. They want to know you. They want to know like who you are, like what makes you different, what your interests are, what your hobbies are. Like, your job doesn't define who you are. Like in SF, I would show up to a party and I would meet some strangers, and within like the first 5 minutes, they'll be like, oh, so what do you do here? I'm like, I don't know, just hanging out. It just doesn't feel genuine. Like, I've met a lot of people who kind of shifts their way of interacting with you in the US once they find out what you do. And just from these little interactions, I've noticed that people here are just not fake. You know, I've met friends of friends here and they are just so incredibly genuine. And when I tell them that I moved here and left my family and my friends, and they all just like are very understanding and just immediately is like, hey, what's your number? Let's hang out. Let's do this. Let me introduce you to my other friends. Like, just making you feel like you belong. And in America, when people say that, nobody actually texts you. You know, we've all been in a situation where we meet someone somewhere at an event or at a birthday party or something, and you connect really fast at the party, and they'll take your number and be like, oh, let's hang out like next week, and then it's crickets. And that just comes to, I think, people here connect slower. Like, they really want to get to know you first, and once they do become your friend and they want to hang out with you, like that's that. We've been to quite a few places in just 2 short months of living here. Like, we spent 3 weeks in Spain, so don't forget to subscribe so you can follow my travel vlogs. We spent 3 weeks there. It was so amazing. And we also do day trips to Lille, France, because it's only about like 20 minutes drive from here. And a couple weekends in Brussels to see Stan's sister, and that has been really fun to like explore different cities already. And just because the whole train system is just like so much easier to get to places. But been pleasantly surprised at all the prices here. Like, we were in Spain and I think there was 4 of us, and we got like 4 coffees and 2 croissants, and it was €8. Like, what? That's not even like, you can't even buy 1 croissant in SF at a coffee shop. So it was really nice to see the difference. And even like, we would be doing groceries. When we lived in SF, it would cost, I don't know, maybe $200 a week for Stan and I to buy some groceries. And that doesn't include like going out and eating at restaurants for the weekends and the takeouts that we order. So when we came here and do groceries every week, it's like €80. You're like, what? I could live like a queen here. What do you mean? All in all, I think the move here has been truly amazing and nothing short of what I was expecting. If you are someone who is going to make the move abroad on your own, please remember to subscribe, because I have more videos coming up on how I made the move and all the things that go with it. And if you are someone who has moved abroad, you know, what are some of your struggles and things that you found that helped you throughout the way? But, you know, I think you just have to move with an open mind. Like, I know there are gonna be struggles. Like, sometimes I do get sad when I'm here, especially after hanging out with Stan and his whole family, because it reminds me what it was like for me in the States with my family. So yeah, there's going to be struggles, but there's also going to be some things like the quality of life is going to get better. But yeah, so I think open mind is important, and just make the best of this new adventure. So that's it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.